I'd like to talk about infinite mirrors. One of the biggest things I've learned from my own life is that if I want to know my potential, I just need to look around me and see my potential. I only need to look out the window and look at the universe to see that anything is possible. Anything is possible. The universe mirrors that. There's an old hermetic saying, as within, as without. So what you see on the outside is only really what's on the inside, and what you see on the inside is only really what's on the outside. Everything is everything. So if I want to see my potential, I just need to look out and I'll be able to see it. But equally, if I want to see my potential in other people, I only need to look at my own heroes and I can see the potential there. Look at someone like Beckett or someone like Jim Cartwright. Look at someone like Daniel Day-Lewis or I guess some of my early heroes, people like George Best or people like Cassius Clay before he became Muhammad Ali, but when he was raw and at his very best, when he was Cassius Clay, when he had this anger. Look at someone like Kirtland Lang, the British boxer. You watch Kirtland Lang on the heavy bag, it's grace. It's like God's walked in the room. So if I look at those, I don't look at those with envy, I don't look at those with jealousy, I look at those and think they are a mirror of what my potential is. If you look at someone like the Dalai Lama or somebody like Mahatma Gandhi or perhaps someone like Milarepa or Ramana Maharishi, exactly the same again. You're looking at a mirror of your potential. What I've learned from my life is that if I want to see where my faults are, I want to see where my potential or my faults are, where I need to improve or where I need to reveal, I just need to look at where my reactions and emotions are. So if I see somebody like Mark Rylance, for instance, I look at Mark Rylance, who's a British stage actor. I don't think I've ever experienced anybody better. I've never seen anybody with more grace on the stage. I watched him in Richard III and I watched him in Jerusalem, and it's incredible. And I look at him and I just see my own potential. I see him I see like I've projected out of myself and created this image which enables me to reflect back at my potential. But equally, if I watch somebody on television, or if I see somebody in the street or somebody in the newspapers and they fill me with anger or jealousy or rage or judgment or any of the vices, I can also see a mirror of where I've got a blind spot. I can see a mirror of where I've got a psychological block of energy. And one of the things I teach when I'm mentoring is I show people that wherever strong emotions are evoked, it's just showing you your potential, or it's showing you your breaks or snags in the integrity. So if I look at somebody and I'm filled with anger because they're judging people, or I'm filled with anger because they're greedy, or I'm filled with anger because they're unkind, if it's provoking a very strong disproportionate energy, then I look at them and I realise that's a reflection in me. In psychology they call this reaction formation. What we hate in others is what we despise in ourselves, and it's the strong reaction to it is a sure sign that it's to do with us. So somebody said to me recently, a very good friend of mine, that she'd fell out with somebody, or she'd stepped away from somebody. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing the story. And that they'd said a few unkind things and it filled her with rage. And I just said to her, look, this person's just a mirror of where you still need to work. If somebody says something about you and it's not true, you will just feel balanced, and you will feel equanimity. So if you said to me, it's as plain as you saying to me, that t-shirt you're wearing is white, and I say, well actually it's black, and you go, no, it's white. It doesn't matter that you've said it white, it makes no difference to me that you've said it's white, it's black, it is what it is. So if you said to me, you're greedy, if I am greedy, the reaction might be one of anger, one of rage, one of how dare you, and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm not a greedy person and you tell me that I'm greedy, I can just go, it's actually not true. It actually is not true. I've had people accuse me of things before and I've just said that's actually not true, and it just kills it in the air because it's not true. If they hit something where it does provoke an emotion, it does provoke an anger or rage, then I look at that and I think, oh, this person's showing me where I've got a leak. This is myself projecting out and seeing myself from another angle. It's almost like a kind of four-dimensional scan or a three-dimensional scan of my own psyche. So when I look at other people, it's like I've scanned out and saw areas of myself that I need to work on. There used to be a critic on television, and every time he came on the television, I'd say to my wife, I hate this guy. I can't stand this guy. He just comes on here. He destroys other people's films. He destroys their livelihoods, the way he talks about films. What the fuck does he know anyway? Who is he? And this was my reaction to it, my negative reaction. And Sharon just looked at me and said, what is it about this guy that you don't like about yourself? She says, because we're all critics. She said, you come out of the cinema and criticise films if you haven't liked them. And I said, yeah, you're right. Anyway, I started to work on that. I started to work on not criticising other people's works. I was doing it unconsciously, and to be kinder with my criticism of other people or my judgment. And I started to work on the area of myself. If I felt that rage towards people, I recognised it was a reflection of something in myself that I didn't like, a fear. And then about 6 months later, this guy came on television again and he was being interviewed, and I said to Sharon, quick, come in here. Have a look at this guy. He's so nice. He's so nice. He's changed. Look at how he's changed. He's so gentle. And Sharon started laughing. She said, he hasn't changed at all. He hasn't changed one bit. You've changed. So when we look at people, if we look at people and they're uber successful and we're jealous of that or we're envious of that, again, we're failing to recognise that we are seeing our own potential, and the energy that we're creating, the anger or the judgment or the jealousy or the envy, is a block between us and our potential. So you look at your potential in Mark Rylance, you look at it, if you feel, all I feel when I see Mark Rylance is love, because he's one of those artists that just evokes something beautiful. I intend to write something beautiful for him at some point. But if I looked at Mark Rylance and I felt envy because of where he is, or jealousy because of where he is, that would be like me projecting out of myself, seeing my best potential, and also seeing what blocks my best potential. So Mark would represent my best potential, and the jealousy and envy would represent the things, the beliefs, the perceptions, the cognitions that stand between me and my potential, if that makes sense. But equally, if I can look at him and just appreciate it and go, that potential is there for everybody, I would just look at him and I'd look at his work ethic and I'd look at how he got to where he is, and I'd just think, I can be in that same position if I'm prepared to do the work, if I'm prepared to surrender to that kind of work. So it's as though we are this multi-dimensional being, and we are able to continually project outwards to the people around us and see our best selves and our worst selves. If a negative emotion comes up, it's a gift because we can work on it. If a positive emotion comes up, it's a gift because we can work towards it. The worst thing we can do is create a projection. And I think this is what happens. I think we create a projection to see our potential or to see our faults, and then we forget we've created it, or we're unconscious of the fact that we've created it, and then we attack the projection. So it's like walking around attacking mirrors. So it's like you saying to me, I want to see how I can work on my physique, and I'd say to you, okay, well, take your clothes off and stand in front of this mirror. I'll put this mirror in front of you and it'll give you a good idea of where your fitness stands just looking in the mirror. And what happens is you take your clothes off and you stand in front of the mirror, you forget about me and you forget that the mirror is an image, and suddenly you start attacking what you see in the mirror. You start to attack it because you see it as separate. You see it as different. But actually it's just another part of you that you've put out there to reflect back. So don't attack the mirror images. If you start to attack mirror images, if you attack him or her or this or that, you have fallen into the illusion, you've fallen into the projection. If they say reality is illusory, you've you've fallen for the illusion. So the key all the time is, and this is what's amazing, is that you start to see everything as scripture, everything has potential, everything will teach you. Everywhere you go, what your reactions, your emotions, your observations will teach you what you need to do to work on yourself. And this is all just about revealing your best potential. It's not about creating a best potential. The best potential is already there. We just have to unveil these masks, these beliefs, these perceptions, these cognitions, these stains, these scars. We have to peel them back to reveal what is passive in us, which is the authentic self. So we're continually throwing out judgments, but the judgments are just judgments of ourselves, because when we see bad in people, it's just the bad we see in ourselves. When we see good in people, that's our potential. And if we see good in people but we think we can't achieve that, then that belief is what stands between us and our achievement. So it's just trying to remember that the world is teaching you, or you're teaching yourself. Probably heard that saying, whoever reads the Quran writes the Quran. Whoever reads the Bible writes the Bible. Whoever reads the Gita writes the Gita. Whoever reads the Guru Granth Sahib writes the Guru Granth Sahib. Whoever reads the Tao Te Ching writes the Tao Te Ching. So it's like we are continually projecting things out in order to, a bit like a bat throwing out sonar, in order to get direction. So we're throwing things out in order to see where we need to work, but then we forget we've done it, and then we get caught up in the projection. We fall into the illusion of the projection. We believe the projection incarnates us. So if we engage anger, we become anger. If we engage envy, we become envy. That becomes our truth. So just keep thinking about mirrors, infinite mirrors, all of them trying to teach you, all of them trying to show you. But if you're in denial of it, you will always be about blaming other people or judging other people, which means you're lost in the dream.